Next on Worcester News Tonight, joining in prayer, community leaders gather in faith in the city. Plus, City Council looks at extending the city manager's contract. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andy Madison. We'll get to those stories in a minute, but we begin tonight in Sturbridge, where the State Fire Marshal's office is investigating a fire at a Walmart. Authorities say the fire was intentionally set. No word on any injuries from the fire, but the State Fire Marshal's office is investigating along with the District Attorney's office. At this time, no arrests have been made. Tonight in Worcester, faith-based leaders from different religions and different community groups gathering outside City Hall for the first time to pray. Poverty, racism, violence, and homelessness, just some of the issues covered during tonight's prayer. The NAACP organized the event, calling for people to come together and show Worcester as a united city. Organizers of the prayer service say they've been working on this for several months to put the event together.
Worcester, and also as we try to heal in various areas, I think at the head of the line leading this should be faith leaders.
There was also a table set up outside City Hall to register people to vote in the upcoming election. More discussion by city leaders about keeping Ed Augustus as Worcester's city manager for the rest of the decade. The issue was brought up at tonight's city council meeting. Augustus' contract is up in October of next year, but the city is looking at possibly extending his contract into 2020. Several city councilors have spoken highly of the job Augustus has done. Meanwhile, one city leader feels the council should hold off on making any decisions on the issue.
Just a couple of months ago, he had his evaluation. 10 councilors gave him an outstanding evaluation.
Let the public digest it beforehand. That was a concern I had coming in, but apparently the Municipal Operations Committee did not actually come to any resolution concerning that tonight. So I think that's good. I think you just, let it develop.
The City Council actually went into executive session to discuss the city manager's contract. Ed Augustus has been the city manager since 2014. A new report from WalletHub shows Worcester is one of the worst cities in the nation for people with disabilities. According to the study, Worcester is the least disabled friendly. The study looked at the accessibility of public facilities, quality of health care, and employment rate. The city ranked in last place, largely due to its low ability to house people on a disabled income. The first presidential debate is in the books. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump covered a number of topics last night. As for who came out on top, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker seems to be undecided. Our Brittany Schaefer reports.
I think that makes me one of very many people who watch the debate.
Count Governor Charlie Baker as one of more than 80 million people who watched Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump face off, making it the most watched presidential debate in American history. As for declaring a winner, opinions seem to differ.
I would say either candidate won.
I think Hillary won the debate. She was factual. She had loads of energy.
I think it was a more even match, and I think it's still early on in the debate process for that to evolve.
State Senator Michael Moore says Trump was more poised than he expected, but fellow Democrats say he still fumbled at times.
I think he probably did a little better than most people expected. He maintained his composure a little bit better.
Didn't quite answer the questions when some of his subjects, some of his facts were questioned.
While Trump questioned Clinton on her email scandal, state senators Moore and Chandler say she handled herself well and stuck to her policy.
She talked about policy issues she talked about her plan.
She seemed to be full of vitality and anxious to move on to the next question.
Governor Charlie Baker says after watching the debate, he doesn't believe either candidate stood out.
I don't think either candidate said anything that would have moved anybody who wasn't already with him from one column to the other.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
A Massachusetts state trooper has been indicted on assault charges after he was caught on camera punching a Worcester man after a police chase earlier this year. Joseph Flynn is facing charges for the alleged use of force during the pursuit and arrest of 50-year-old Richard Simone. You see the footage of helicopter footage capturing the state and local police repeatedly punching Simone after he got out of his truck and down on his knees after leading officers on a lengthy chase that started in Holden, Massachusetts and ended in New Hampshire. A former New Hampshire state trooper was also charged in the incident. Flynn is set to be arraigned next month. Single car crash Tuesday morning ended with a car in the woods here in Worcester. It happened around 11:45 on Ararat Street in the city. Massachusetts State Police and EMS were on scene to help the driver. State police say there was only one person in the car at the time of the crash. The vehicle was towed from the scene. The cause of the crash is under investigation. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. An elite boarding school in Connecticut is reporting past sexual misconduct by teachers. The Pomfret school says an independent investigation found 4 teachers more likely than not engaged in sexual misconduct with students, while there were credible reports that 9 others engaged in behavior ranging from boundary violations to sexual misconduct. Misconduct is said to have happened between the 1970s and 2000s. Worcester City Common is an ever-changing landscape. City officials say within the last 2 years, a lot has changed, and business owners seem to agree. The city has spent money making improvements to the area, while the police department has added more patrols. Our Rosalind Flaherty has the story.
But over the last 2 years, there's been a real change in the environment in the Common.
The city is hoping to change the perception of Worcester Common. An ongoing effort is working to help the homeless who gather here find services. And police patrols have cracked down on drug dealing. It's in addition to a major investment being made downtown.
Over $10 million we've invested in the Common and the streetscape.
Worcester City Development Officer Michael Traynor says infrastructure improvements help the look of the area around City Hall.
It helps landlords get businesses and businesses get customers when people feel that there's a real solid investment into the area.
MG2, a real estate developer, has created what is called the Grid District, consisting of 6 acres across 2 blocks downtown. The company is transforming older buildings into luxury apartments, restaurants, and commercial space.
What our goal is to foster a live, work, and play type environment. We, as a company, we recognize the value of being downtown.
The city manager is working with the Worcester Police Department on patrols in the area. Joe Donovan is the vice president of MG2. He says the company is in close communication with the police.
We gave them access to our camera systems to improve security.
Donovan says he has seen a real improvement with the life downtown.
Especially here on Franklin Street, in terms of a decrease in negative activity.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
Well, the governor in Worcester today for a manufacturing summit where he also officially announced that October will be Manufacturers Month in the state. The Baker-Polito administration is awarding 2 grant programs to economic and job training opportunities for residents across Massachusetts. The first grant is $12 million to be given to high schools and colleges to provide work training equipment in the manufacturing industry. The second grant is $1.45 million for 8 regional workforce development teams across the state. The president of Mass Development says manufacturing is a big part of the state's economy.
It's about 10% of our gross state product and employs over 250,000 people in the state, so it's a huge part of the growth that's happening here in the Commonwealth. And to have the Lieutenant Governor and the Governor here joining us with 350 people celebrating manufacturing has been fantastic. So the announcement of training funds, which will help manufacturers, and also capital equipment funds that will help train those new workers are a great support for the industry.
One of 8 workforce development teams receiving the second grant is located right here in Worcester. The Massachusetts Manufacturing Extension Partnership will use the money towards giving future employees the skills to join their company.